Let's talk about the one tool that probably powers your most critical operations and at the same time holds them back. We're talking about the spreadsheet. Today, we're going to look at how businesses are finally unchaining themselves from it. So, does this question feel a little familiar? For so many companies, crucial work in finance, project management, you name it, it's all built on this incredibly complex web of interconnected spreadsheets. But have you ever stopped to think about the real cost of relying on them? It usually starts with this. This is a nightmare we've all lived through. You've seen the file names, right? Final report V2, final report V3 underscore actually use this one. When your team is just emailing files back and forth, trying to find the one true version feels completely impossible. And then you've got the human error problem. It's like a domino effect. One person puts a decimal in the wrong place, one formula breaks, just one tiny copy-paste mistake, and that one little error can spiral into massively wrong conclusions that people make big decisions on. And here's the threat that too many people overlook: security. Seriously, every single time somebody attaches a spreadsheet with sensitive financial or customer data to an email, you've just lost all control. That file can be forwarded, saved on a personal laptop, shared anywhere, and you'd have no idea. Okay, so how do you even begin to fix a problem this big? Well, let's look at a real-world story. We're going to start with L Corp, a manufacturing company that was literally drowning in a super complex cost analysis process. This slide just says it all. Look at the before and after. The old way was this 2 to 3 week marathon of manual copy-pasting between 20 different Excel sheets. It was slow, full of mistakes, and managers had zero idea what was going on. But now with Bimatrix, the whole thing is automated. You get real-time data, built-in checks, and the result? A process that used to take up to 3 weeks now gets done in just 2 or 3 days. So what does that huge time reduction actually mean? Let's put a number on it. It adds up to over 752 working hours saved on just this one process. That is not just a number on a slide. Think about what that is. That's time your best people get back to spend on actual strategic work instead of mind-numbing data entry. And hey, remember that security threat we were just talking about? Well, by getting rid of the email attachments and moving to a centralized system where you control who sees what, L Corp completely wiped out their data leakage risk. They went from a huge probability of a leak to a secure, controlled workflow. Problem solved. Now, L Corp's story is fantastic, but it's not a one-off. This kind of transformation happens over and over again across totally different industries. And the common theme? It's all about a massive acceleration of work. Let's see a few more. Okay, get this. Take S Electronics. They had this huge, critical business planning meeting every single week, but getting ready for it was a total grind. 4 employees spent their entire Monday, that's a combined 32 hours of work, just pulling data together into a spreadsheet. With Bimatrix automating all that, the entire prep process now takes one person 30 minutes. Just imagine that. An entire team's full day of work, now done in less time than it takes to finish your morning coffee. Let's just put that into perspective for a second. Going from 32 hours down to 30 minutes, that was a 98.4% improvement in efficiency. They didn't just make the process a little better, they basically made the manual work disappear. And it means their big planning meetings are now based on data that's fresh, not days old. They can react to the market way, way faster. That is the real power of automation. Now let's talk about performance. Q Corp, an energy company, was fighting these monster Excel files for business simulations. I mean, they were so bloated with data that they would just lag and crash all the time. You know that feeling, right? Waiting 3 or 4 seconds just for the screen to catch up when you scroll? It wasn't just annoying, it was actually stopping them from doing effective planning. Their new Bimatrix system made everything 5 times faster. No more waiting. So what's the business impact of that speed boost? How about a nearly 94% reduction in the total work time for their entire planning process? The analysts who used to spend all day just fighting with slow spreadsheets can now run multiple scenarios in the time it used to take them to run just one. That's a fundamental change in how they operate. So this need for speed and accuracy is everywhere, right? But I think we can all agree that nowhere are the stakes higher than in the world of finance. So let's shift gears and look at how this platform transforms really high-stakes financial reporting. This quote from K Investment, it just says it all. Their fund managers used to have to show up at 7 a.m. every single morning to deal with a mountain of manual work, just to compile performance reports from the day before. Can you imagine the stress? A repetitive, thankless job where one little mistake could lead to some really bad trading decisions? And if you think that sounds intense, check out HBank's process for their official regulatory reporting. This was a brutal 3-week ordeal every single month. It involved downloading data from all these different systems, running fragile Excel macros, manually mapping data across 14 different spreadsheets. I mean, it was just a recipe for errors and total burnout under incredible pressure. So what does that new process look like? Well, that entire 3-week nightmare was replaced by a fully automated workflow. All the data is pulled, checked, and formatted automatically. The entire report preparation now takes under 10 minutes, from 3 weeks of anxiety to 10 minutes of confidence. The difference is just staggering. And beyond all the time saved and errors avoided, there's a real hard financial benefit. HBank saw annual cost savings of $130,000. Not to mention, they cut their audit response time by 95%. This is a clear, direct return on their investment, freeing up money and smart people to do more important work. So we've looked at manufacturing, electronics, energy, finance. What's the common thread here? And more importantly, what could this kind of transformation actually mean for your business? It really just boils down to these 5 core advantages. First, speed, taking processes that take weeks and shrinking them down to minutes. Accuracy, getting rid of all those risky manual steps. Security, swapping out leaky emails for controlled, secure access. Efficiency, automating all the repetitive stuff that just drains your team's energy. And finally, visibility, giving you a real-time window into what's actually happening. So I'll leave you with this final thought. We all say it, right? Data is our most valuable asset. But what if you could actually treat it that way? What could your business truly achieve if that asset wasn't locked up in a bunch of fragile spreadsheets, but was instantly available, totally reliable, and completely secure? What could you unchain?